So today we are going to talk about
जी सर।
structure of structure of
जी सर।
stearic acid and oleic acid.
यस सर। सर जी,
These two structures, yes, please.
स्टेरिक एसिड और ओलिक एसिड ये सिलेबस में है?
Yes, we will talk about their structures just in order to get an idea how ATPs are formed here, because this is very initial information. There you will just get an idea how the number of carbons are the tail in the form of fatty acid, long chain, how that will affect or how that will be able to produce the number of ATPs. Or we can say if the structure or the tail of the stearic acid or oleic acid, if that is changed in number, in number means change in the number of carbons, so how it will affect the amount of ATP. This is our objective here in this part. So there I will just want to show you the first thing that you need to understand here. More hydrogen in the structure of an acid, stearic acid or oleic acid, that will produce more ATP. This is first thing you need to understand. Means more more hydrogen, because we need to understand that how the structure of fatty acid. Actually, it is because I have used the word fatty acid. Glycerol is everywhere same. That will not be changed. Okay. Uh, this fatty acid in the form of oleic acid or stearic acid. Actually, it is a fatty acid. Commonly we use the general term for it, fatty acids. But here we are specifically discussing stearic acid and oleic acids, right? And we will try to understand if we will add any of them like stearic acid or oleic acid in the glycerol, because basic component is same. Because basic component is what? In case of lipids, you know, what are the two main components? G or A's, what are the two main components in lipids? One is glycerol,
यस सर।
one is glycerol, and
यस।
what is the second one? That is
यस सर।
that is fatty acid. These are the two main components in case of lipids, right? All the lipid molecules commonly which are formed by these two components, glycerol and fatty acid. Now glycerol is same everywhere. It is not going to change anywhere in case of lipids, right?
यस सर।
What will be the change here? The change here, it would be fatty acid, right?
यस सर।
And how this fatty acid will change? What would be the change in fatty acid? So here there would be 2 to 3 changes that we will observe in this lecture. One is number of hydrogen.
प्रेजेंट।
Number of hydrogen. This is the first thing that will change in all fatty acids. And second thing is number, we can say saturated, and we can say number of double bonds.
यस।
Number of double bonds or single bonds, we can say. We will just try to understand that if it is saturated or unsaturated. It depends. Definitely, if the fatty acid will be saturated, it will have different effect in lipids. And as we know, for example, for example, in last lecture we have discussed, if the fatty acid is saturated, then what is the form of lipids there, whether it is oil or it is fat. So yesterday we have, or in the previous lecture, we have studied that if the fatty acids which are present in the lipids, if they will be saturated, so that will be fat,
Yes, sir.
a solid form of the lipid which is called fat, and that will remain solid at the room temperature, right? And
Yes,
if
sir.
the fatty acid, if the fatty acid is unsaturated, or it means it has double or triple bond, so the form of lipid which will be present, that is oil,
Yes, sir.
right? It
Yes, sir.
means at room temperature, lipid will be oil, and this is how fatty acid impact the lipid composition and the state of lipid, whether it is oil or it is solid, right? Are you getting this point? So
Yes, sir.
that's why we will, as you asked, that is it the part of your syllabus or not? So yes, it is part of your syllabus, because here you will understand, if you will change the fatty acid, the form of fatty acid. For example, here we are using two fatty acids. One is stearic acid and other one is oleic acid. And we will try to understand here. You will observe that one will be solid and other one will be liquid,
Yes, sir.
or in the form of oil. This is what we need to understand. Are you
Okay.
getting this point?
Yes, sir.
So, therefore, for example, as I'm for example, we can make one more assumption here. Three hydrogen, three hydrogen required to generate 1 ATP. What does it mean? It means that if you will increase the number of hydrogen in the fatty acid, and definitely that fatty acid will be a specific fatty acid in which the specific number of hydrogen atoms are present. As we are talking about here, the stearic acid and oleic acid, and they both have the different number of hydrogen atoms.
Yes,
So
sir.
here we have assumed three hydrogens will be required to generate 1 ATP,
Yes, sir.
right? For example, we are talking about stearic acid, and the second one we have, oleic acid.
Yes,
So
sir.
we will try to understand here how these hydrogen atoms will impact the amount of energy which will be produced as a result of uh, the number of hydrogen atoms. For example, there are 18 carbon atoms in case of stearic acid, and we commonly use, I'm writing here, for example, if they are going to complete, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and you have 8. These are 18 carbon atoms which are present in case of, I'm talking about stearic acid.
Okay, sir.
Stearic acid. So, what is the condition here? You have double bond oxygen here.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Yes, sir.
You have acid. It is acid. One thing keep in mind, of course, there will be carboxylic group at one end. So
Yes.
this is the carboxylic group, or the functional group, which is, that's why we call it acid. So it is present in all types of fatty acids, right?
Yes, sir.
So Now you can add all the carbon atoms here. How many bonds one carbon atom always form? How
Uh,
many? What is the valency of carbon? Definitely four. There are
four.
four bonds that will be formed at once in the carbon.
Yes, sir.
Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
For example, how many carbons are here? How many bonds are here in first case, in first carbon?
Four.
There four bonds are completed or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what would be the condition here? Hydrogen. How many hydrogen I should add here? Yes, please. What else? Two,
Two.
because we have to complete four bonds
Yes, sir.
for one carbon. So here we are just adding to complete its valency. Hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen. Here you have to add. Here you have to add. So you have to complete number of hydrogens. So here you will observe one thing. The number of hydrogens will be greater. It means this fatty acid will generate maximum amount of ATP.
Okay, sir.
The more the tail, the more the tail of the fatty acid is longer, so more ATPs will be produced. This
Okay.
is our objective here, to understand how the number of hydrogen atoms will impact. Do you have any double bond here in the chain? That
No,
is
sir.
the tail. Leave this. It is present in all other. It is a functional group, carboxyl group. So
Yes, sir.
is there any double bond or triple bond which is formed between these carbon atoms? Is there any present here? No.
No, sir.
Do we have any? Yes. It means, what do you think? What is its form? Is it in the form of solid,
Fat.
or is it in the form of fat?
Fat.
So what do you think? Is it saturated or unsaturated?
Sir, it's saturated.
It is saturated. It means it will be in the form of
Fat.
fats. This stearic acid has long hydrocarbon tail and it produces more energy. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
So it is a saturated fatty acids generate more ATP. This is the question. If anybody asks you in your exam, they may ask you that, tell me which form of the fatty acids will produce more ATP, whether saturated or unsaturated. So you must keep in mind, saturated fatty acids, they will generate more ATP as compared to unsaturated fatty acid. What
Oh,
is the reason in its behind? The reason is very simple. As we have discussed previously, that if the hydrogen atoms will be greater, if the more hydrogen atoms will be present, so more ATPs will be produced,
yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
For example, we said if there are three hydrogen atoms, that will produce 1 ATP. Are you getting this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's move on to the other fatty acid, that is oleic acid. And we will compare the structures of both of these, oleic acid and stearic acid, and we will get an idea that how the structure of the stearic acid helps a lipid to attain a specific form, whether it is oil or fats, and
Yes.
what amount of energy will be produced by using, for example. So this is very important thing that we should keep in mind. So there is another thing, oleic acid. Remember, oleic acid is also the isomer. Should I say this isomer? No, I'm not use. I should not use this term, but I would say that the total number of carbons in oleic acid, and they are very same to the total number of carbon atoms in stearic acid. So we will just observe here the change, and by this change, you will observe that the form of the stearic acid and oleic acid will be quite different from each other. So let's talk about another thing. This is carbon number 1. Here I'm just adding first thing. So let me add other carbons here. This is one, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and this one is 18.
Yes,
How
sir.
many carbon atoms which were present in case of stearic acid? There were
18.
also 18. Here, the number of carbons are also 18. But
Sir.
what is the difference here?
डबल बॉन्ड होगा सर
But
ये
double bond, yes. But where? The double bond will be between the
चेन
carbon atom. Yes, between the chain, not here. This double bond is just the carboxylic acid, as we know. If
यस
this group is not present here, it is not acid because it is the functional group. If the functional group is here, that's why it is acid. That's
यस
we call it acid because it's a carboxylic acid, carboxylic group that is present here. Its general name is so. Yes, we need to understand here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So this is the point where, oh, wait a second. This is the point where you would have what?
a double bond.
Double bond. What is here? Correct? Okay. So this is 9 at this point. Yeah, you double hold it. So this is a double bond,
Yes, sir.
right? And complete all of the hydrogen atoms here. Complete the valency of carbon, all the hydrogen atoms, all the hydrogen atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Complete. One hydrogen is here. How many hydrogens are here? 1, 2, 3, 4. One hydrogen. Hydrogen, 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 hydrogen. Completed, whatever it is. Okay. So what do you think? What do you think? Where the number of hydrogens are greater? In case of stearic acid or in case of oleic acid? This is
Steric acid.
oleic acid. Yes. Why? Because here 2 hydrogens are less. Why? Because of the double bond which is present between 2 carbon atoms.
Yes, sir.
Are you getting this point?
Yes, sir.
Is it easy or is anything you want to ask?
नहीं नहीं सर जी समझ
Okay, great. This is oleic acid. So now there is a double bond present here. Because of this double bond, it becomes unsaturated. If it
Okay.
is unsaturated, although the number of carbon atoms are same, but because of this double bond, it becomes unsaturated fatty acid. Now, the form of the fatty acid in case of oleic acid, that is in the form of oil, right?
Yes, sir.
It is oil. And what it is fat. That is in the form of solid.
Yes.
Are you getting this point?
Yes, sir.
So what we have concluded here, why we have studied this, I have told you the objective of this topic was actually why we have studied the structure of stearic acid and oleic acid. Both are not complex. You just need to understand here there are 18 carbons.
Yes,
At
sir.
the first carbon, or first carbon is actually the carboxylic group that contains one double bond oxygen and one hydroxyl group.
Yes, sir.
And all others are having hydrogen atoms.
Yes, sir.
However, in case of oleic acid, at the point or at the carbon number 9, we have double bond. And because of this double bond, number of hydrogens are reduced. If anybody asks you this question, where the ATPs will produce more, whether at the point of stearic acid or in oleic acid? Yes.
Stearic acid.
What do you? In case of stearic acid, because their number of hydrogens are greater as compared to oleic acid. So this is the point that we need to understand.
Yes.
And this is how we have this concept in our mind, whether the number of, although the number of carbon atoms are same, but if the hydrogen atoms are changed there, so it means the number of ATPs will be different, right? And the second thing is, if the double bond and triple bond is there, it means that will be unsaturated, and that will change the form of the fatty acid which is present. Now we are going toward another point, that is triglyceride. Now we will try to understand here that about triglyceride. So what do you think? What is the first thing that will come in your mind?
Sir,
Triglyceride.
triple glycerol.
Uh, Glycerol will not be triple, but you will have 3 fatty acids.
Okay, sir.
That's why it is triglyceride. And we will observe this, that the triglycerides are actually, it is the combination of one glycerol, because glycerol has the capability to attach to it or to attach with 3 fatty acids.
Okay,
Are
sir.
you getting this point?
Yes, sir.
So here in this case, we will observe that the fatty acid which are present in triglycerides, they will be in the form of, by the combination ester bond. We are going towards that. First thing is triglyceride. Triglyceride. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Triglyceride. So it is what? Glycerol
Yes, sir.
plus 3 fatty acids.
Yes, sir.
It is the most common type of, why we are studying this? Because it is the most common type of lipids.
Okay.
Triglyceride is the most common
Lipids.
type of lipids, right? It's the
Yes.
most common type. It's the most common type of lipids. So now we're going to have a first we will make a glycerol here. You should remember the structure of glycerol, which
Okay.
we have studied in our previous lecture. The glycerol, actual structure of the glycerol is like this: CH2OH.
Yes, sir.
Here you have CHOH. Here you have CH2OH. This is the actual structure of glycerol. It is glycerol. Are you getting this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what we are going to form here. In case of triglyceride, 10 minutes are remaining. Time is getting out.
Yes, sir.
Why? Have we spent 40 minutes? Is it not? Okay. I think we have studied in detail. Anyway, so let's have a structure here. Let's have a structure here. For example, how it there will be ester formation. I'm going to tell you how it is.
Okay, sir.
Like there are three carbons here. There is hydrogen. There is hydrogen. Here you would have oxygen, oxygen, oxygen. All right. So on
Yes.
this side, no, you are going to add fatty acids here. Now you should recall the structure of fatty acid. What is the first carbon in case of fatty acid? That carbon was of the carboxylic acid.
Carboxylic
It
acid.
means, yes, the carboxylic acid is present at the first of that tail of fatty acid. So what we are going to do, it means there is OH there. Like there will be the condition like here, double bond oxygen as like this. So
Yes.
what would be there? It mean in here you have hydroxyl group as well. In three cases we have hydroxyl group. So there will be the ester formation and removal of for example, what's going to what would be the change here? The hydroxyl group will remove from here. The hydrogens will remove from here,
Okay, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So all of the three fatty acids will remove one hydroxyl from their uh, one hydrogen, one hydrogen. So it means overall three hydrogens will be removed from this glycerol,
Yes, sir.
and there would be three fatty acids that we are going to add here. So condition would be like here, like this. Remember. So I'm not going to draw a complete structure, but I can just show you like this. It is the fatty acid that we have studied in case of stearic acid and oleic acid. All
Okay.
right. So here you have another thing. What would be here? Double bond, because it is the double bond of oxygen. It is present in carboxylic acid. It is the first part of that fatty acid.
Yes,
So
sir.
all other things are one. You can add anything, like depends. Any fatty acid that we are going to add. Again, what would be the situation? So, and what is the second thing that is going to form here? Because three hydrogens are removed from here and three hydroxyl groups will be removed here.
Okay, sir.
Yes, water.
Yes, sir.
How many molecules?
Ooh,
There should be three. Why?
क्योंकि
Because we have added three fatty acids, one, two, three,
yes,
right?
sir.
And all of them are removing hydroxyl group from there.
Yes, sir.
And we have removed three hydrogen atoms, like these three hydrogen atoms. So when these three hydrogen atoms will combine with three hydroxyl groups, they will produce three molecules of the water. So here, one thing, keep in mind. This bond, which is formed between this oxygen and carbon, this one,
Yes, sir.
it is called ester bond. And what is ester bond? Yes. Is it new for you?
एस्टर बॉन्ड्स एक्चुअली जब थोड़ा सा रिव्यू दे दे, मुझे अंदाज़ा नहीं है इतना.
So ester bond is the bond actually which is forms between the oxygen and carbon atoms,
Okay, sir.
right?
Yes.
This is called ester bond, or it is also called ester linkage.
Okay, sir.
Now, this is the first thing. And as the byproduct, the water molecule will be released,
Okay, sir.
right? So the bond that forms between the oxygen and the carbon atoms, that is called ester bond. And as a byproduct, what will be released here, that will be water. So this is a ester bond formation. So what is the function of this triglyceride? Although it is very common, as we said that this is triglyceride. What is this? It is triglyceride.
Triglyceride.
All this is triglyceride.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So 4 minutes are remaining. Oh, no.
Yes, sir.
So quickly we can talk about functions. Its function is insulation,
Okay, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
And it is the reserve form of energy. Reserve form of energy, all right?
Yes, sir.
So this is what we are talking about. We are talking about triglyceride, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
this is how, this is you can say, now you can easily understand what are lipids, how they are formed, what are their basic components, how the fatty acid actually change the lipids. Glycerol will be same everywhere, but the only thing that will be changed, that is fatty acids. All right. So,
Yes, sir.
so then there is one thing that is remaining here, that is phospholipids. It's very short concept. We will discuss in our tomorrow's class, and we will then we will talk about proteins, which is our main topic. So one thing that is phospholipid, we will just talk about this phospholipid, what it is. So just because we have 2 minutes, so I can just discuss with you that you know very well phospholipids are actually, it is the lipid, as you know the basic structure of the phospholipid. There will be glycerol and there will be what? There will be fatty acids here. So this phospholipid is present in the cell membrane of plant and animals. All right.
Yes, sir.
But one thing keep in mind here, in case of phospholipids, you would not have 3 fatty acids. You
Oh,
would have 1 glycerol and 2 fatty acids.
okay.
And there would be 1 phosphate here. We will add that phosphate tomorrow in the structure. You will understand. There will be only 2 long chains of fatty acids,
Okay.
and there will be at the carbon number 3 of glycerol, because there are 3 carbons in glycerol. So at the carbon number 3, there will be a phosphate. We will understand that structure. That is, you just need to understand it. And the second thing, you know, there is a phosphate head that is hydrophilic, and there is a fatty acid tail that is hydrophobic. You know, the head of the phospholipid, because it forms a structure like head, for example, like this. We have discussed this in AS class as well, right? So
Yes.
there are 2 long, two tails, and there is 1 head. So this head is actually what? This head is hydrophilic. It is water loving, and
Yes.
there is hydrophobic tails. These are water hating tails, right? So this is how this glycerol and fatty acids, they combine with each other and to form a phospholipids, which are the very common structure in case of plants and animal cell membrane. We have studied about the lipid bilayer structure of the cell membrane in case of plants and in case of animals. So
Yes, sir.
this phospholipid is the major structure there, and that form the double layer of the lipids, right? Are you
Yes.
getting this point? So this is all about fatty acid. We will just touch in 1 or 2 minutes the structure of this phospholipid in our upcoming lecture, and then we will go on to the proteins,
Okay.
right?
Yes, sir.
So you can stop this now recording, and please ये मुझे साथ